Okay, super. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate it. I know that there's going to be more coming in the door, so we'll let people in as they show up. My name is Jennifer Crosby. For those of you that I haven't met, I'm the Vice President of People Services at Gladstone. So before I turn this over to our Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Linh Huynh, she's going to be introducing our esteemed speaker and our educator today. But I wanted to let you know what we've been working on at Gladstone over the past year related to neurodiversity. In January, we held an ADHD in the workplace discussion group, which was really well attended, and we were truly inspired and committed at the time to bring in more of that type of education to Gladstone. I was then approached by a fantastic and passionate Gladstonian who introduced me to Dr. Fung's YouTube videos, which I pored over, and I was again inspired to understand more about what we could do to better infuse our DEI strategy and our overall strategy with this type of information. So since that time, we've been looking into tactical areas such as performance evaluations, the way we offer feedback, how we educate our community on this important topic, and better supporting those who are neurodiverse. So I am thrilled that Dr. Fung was able to give us some time today, and I'm looking forward to the next hour. And with that, I'll turn it over to Linh.
Great, thank you, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Linh Huynh, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. I'm Gladstone's Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This event is part of our Critical Conversation series, which was started 3 years ago as a way to bring together Gladstone's community around important issues and expose Gladstonians to topics that may not traditionally be addressed within the walls of our organization. A couple of housekeeping items before I introduce our speaker. First, this event is being recorded and auto captioning is enabled. Please note that you can choose to turn on captioning in your own Zoom settings. Second, as our speaker presents, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. We do have time set aside at the end for our speaker to address your questions. And finally, this event is being cross-listed with the Responsible Conduct of Research series, so attending this event will earn credit towards your training. And now on to the introduction of our speaker. Dr. Lawrence Fung is an associate professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Stanford University. He is the director of the Stanford Neurodiversity Project, director of the Neurodiversity Clinic, and principal investigator at the Fung Lab. His work, which focuses on autism and neurodiversity, traverses from multimodal neuroimaging studies to a new conceptualization of neurodiversity and its application to clinical, educational, and employment settings. Using a community-based participatory research approach, his team devises and implements novel interventions to improve the lives of neurodiverse individuals by maximizing their potential and productivity. He received his PhD in chemical engineering from Cornell University and his MD from George Washington University. He completed his general psychiatry residency, child and adolescent psychiatry fellowship, and postdoctoral research fellowship at Stanford. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Lawrence Fung.
Thank you, Lynn, for such a generous introduction, and nice to meet you all, and thank you for letting me know about what Gladstone is doing. Jennifer, it's really wonderful. So I'll share screen here. So today I will be talking about neurodiversity in the workplace. Much of the first part of the presentation is the introduction on neurodiversity, and then I will tell you about how we conceptualize the strength-based model of neurodiversity and how we apply that model in the Stanford Neurodiversity Project, and I'll give you some examples on employment applications. What is neurodiversity? Neurodiversity is really about regarding individuals with differences differences in their brain function and behavioral traits as part of normal variation in the human population. When we talk about neurodiverse conditions, a lot of the time we are thinking about autism, and many years ago, 2 decades ago, it's the movement of neurodiversity was really started by autistic individuals But now there are many more neurodiverse conditions that are really considered to be under the umbrella of neurodiverse conditions. And they include ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and even motor disorders, neurogenetic disorders, other neurologic conditions like epilepsy and psychiatric conditions. And it is very common to see the neurodiverse individuals in our midst. The prevalence of autism is about 2.85% in the United States. Dyslexia is much higher, 13 to 14%, and ADHD is somewhere in between 5 to 7%. When we are thinking about the neurodiverse conditions, a lot of people are familiar with the medical model, and to contrast it with neurodiversity model and the social model, I'll use the next few slides to describe what they all mean. When we are talking about any medical conditions or psychiatric conditions using the typical medical model, oftentimes we are focusing on the patient and what is the patient different from another human being in terms of what their functions are like. So like for this particular patient who has a lot of bodily injuries, definitely you can see that there is big difference on that patient, and it's really reasonable to help this patient to mobilize again. So normalizing function is actually quite reasonable. However, there are other ways of thinking about disability, and the social model of disability is not about the individual only, the individual with the differences. It's also about how the environment is shaped. So in this particular case, you can see the curb cut here. Basically, with this curb cut, this individual in wheelchair is able to move from the pavement to this road. And similarly, it benefits this person who has a cart to move, and also this parent who has a child in a stroller to be maneuvering between these two places. So all of a sudden, this person is not being disabled by having a curb that does not have a curb cut. So using this social model of disability, basically, we will be able to appreciate that the environment can really shape how we define a person is able or not. And further, more, when we are thinking about the strength-based model of neurodiversity, it is really about the uniqueness of each individual. And they may be really superior in particular areas and may also have challenges in some other areas. So with all these free models, there's really no right or wrong, which one is right, which one is wrong, and which one is better all the time, or something like that. It is, I will tell you that in different situations, you actually should use a specific model in order to really understand how to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion. So something that we would like to appreciate is that neurodivergent individuals have changed the world for a long time. And here are some examples. This is a list of individuals that either have the diagnosis of autism or their background is consistent with having a diagnosis of autism. So they include the physicists and engineers such as Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, this is Alan Turing, this is Nikola Tesla, this is the guy that owned Tesla now, Elon Musk. And this is Julia Bowen Robertson, a mathematician, Sophie Germain, also a mathematician, Paul Erdos, mathematician. And then we have Benjamin Banneker, who is the first African-American scientist. Immanuel Kant, a philosopher. There's Charles Darwin, the father of evolution. Barbara McClintock, who won a Nobel Prize for the genetics work that she did. There's Diane Fossey, who taught us everything about gorillas. Temple Grandin, who arguably is the most famous autistic individual that have taught us a lot about the first-hand experience as an autistic individual. She is also a prominent animal science professor in her field. There's Greta Thunberg, who has the diagnosis of autism, and she also can be considered as the most effective environmental activist ever. This is Michelangelo. Here are all artists here. This is Andy Warhol, the father of pop art. This is Wassily Kandinsky, Pierre Mondrian, Joseph Correll. This is Stephen Wilshire. Stephen Wilshire had his diagnosis of autism at age 3, and he got an opportunity to learn how to draw, take drawing lessons and so forth. And growing up, the family figured out that he is not only good in drawing, he actually have a really special ability. When he is being flown up the sky with a helicopter, he would be able to memorize the entire city. And then when he came back down, he would draw the entire city. And he has done that in front of really tens of thousands of people in many different places. If you get a chance to Google him, Stephen Wilshire, you can find some YouTube videos. It's just not just photographic memory. He is a true savant. And we also have some musicians here, Mozart, Glenn Gould, and we have writers here. This is Lewis Carroll, Hans Christian Andersen, a poet, and this is Freddie Jelinek, who is one of the first 4 patients that Hans Asperger described in 1944. And she later on in 2004 also won the Nobel Prize in Literature. This is a group of entertainers: Anthony Hopkins, Andy Kaufman, Dan Aykroyd, Susan Boyle, and with Daryl Hannah, Tim Burton, Jim Henson, and this Satoshi Tajiri, who is the creator of Pokemon. And this Mike Burry, an American investor trained at Stanford, and the movie Big Shot is all about him predicting the stock market at that time, some 20 years ago. He also has a diagnosis of autism. And this is Yulin Liu, who is assemblyman of New York State Assembly in New York. So you can see that this is a list of individuals that are either on the autism spectrum or have the profile that's consistent with autism. And one thing that is in common to them, other than they're all very successful in their field, is that they are very passionate about what they're doing. And because of that, they change the world for the good. And then we also have people that have other neurodiverse condition. This is a list of individuals with ADHD. We have Alexander Bell, the inventor of the telephone. This is Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb, among all different inventions. We have our president, JFK, and this is Richard Branson. Richard Branson is the founder of the Virgin Group, and we have some athletes here. We all know Michael Phelps is the most decorated Olympian ever, and Simone Biles, one of the best gymnasts ever. And we also have people in the entertainment industry, and this journalist, Lisa Ling, Emma Watson, Liv Tyler, Howie Mondale, and Justin Timberlake. And one thing that is also in common that they talk about their ADHD is that without their ADHD, they would not be as successful as they are. And then we have a few people here that are have the diagnosis of dyslexia, or their profile is consistent with someone with dyslexia. Here's George Washington. This Pablo Picasso, a famous Spanish painter and sculptor. This Charles Schwab. Some of you may have his investment accounts. He also has dyslexia. And this is Carol Greider, who is a Nobel Prize winner for medicine for discovering the enzyme telomerase. And then we have a couple of physicians here. Stuart Udovsky, he's the past chairman of the Department of Psychiatry at Baylor. And then we have Toby Cosgrove, the president and CEO of the Cleveland Clinic. And we have Anderson Cooper, this is Jackie Stewart, and Jay Leno, Whoopi Goldberg, Robin Williams, and Cher. And one thing that you can imagine is that for someone that has dyslexia, their primary challenge is reading and sometimes writing as well. And a lot of these individuals are in their fields that require a lot of reading, such as the physicians and the scientists and the journalists and so forth. And these individuals basically make their challenges their strengths. So neurodiversity can be a competitive advantage. And now we'll talk about the strength-based model of neurodiversity. So the strength-based model of neurodiversity is very much unlike the disability model, which is all about the condition. Strength-based model is about what the person can do. And so we can reframe some of the conditions that we talk about. Autism has been characterized primarily by the challenges, or in the medical model, they are even considered as deficits. But what I'll tell you is that we have a list of characteristics of autism that can be challenges and strengths at the same time. When someone is having a time that would basically do things over and over again, then you call it perseveration. But at the end, if you figure out that the results are good, then you're going to call it persistence or perseverance, not perseveration anymore. Autistic individuals tend to focus on details. It's not like they cannot see the big picture, but they are more interested in the details. So when you have a task that require a lot of detail orientation, like if you want to debug a program, would you rather the person to focus on the details or the big picture? You want the person to focus on the details, and so that you can have the program debugged. Autistic individuals tend to have fewer interests, but when they are interested in something, they would just dive in and get immersed in the knowledge and will learn so much more in the field than most others. Sometimes autistic individuals have challenges with taking other people's perspectives, but at the same time, they are very concrete and honest. Their social interactions are not the same as other neurotypical individuals, but they can be the most loyal people you have ever met. You can see that is one list of characteristics of autism that can be both challenges and strengths at the same time. And what can make them autistic individuals to be able to show their strengths is really about the environment. When people are understanding that autistic individuals can have both challenges and strengths, then autistic individuals will be able to show their strengths a lot more readily. ADHD is similar construct in that it's one list of characteristics that can be both challenges and strengths. Impulsivity will come with rapid decision-making. Hyperactivity will come with high energy. Difficulty focusing on tasks that they are not interested in will come with hyper-focus on tasks that interest them. Distractibility will come with creativity, and in fact, creativity of ADHD is one of the most known trait of ADHD. In addition to that, people with ADHD tend to be highly resilient. They can multitask, they're big picture thinker, and they are cool in the crisis. So when you're looking at this list of strengths, it looks more like the traits for a CEO to me. Dyslexia, on the other hand, is not the same kind of construct. The challenges and strengths are not the same. Common challenges are reading, writing, spelling, time awareness, and rote memory. Common strengths are that they are very good problem solvers, they are highly creative, they're very observant, and they interact with others very well. And if you are to memorize the strengths, you can use MIND for the strengths of people with dyslexia, and they stand for material reasoning, interconnected reasoning, narrative reasoning, and dynamic reasoning. So with this conceptualization of having both strengths and challenges to be considered for neurodiverse conditions, we further on build this strength-based model of neurodiversity. And it has several components to it. And I'll tell you more in detail a little bit more in a little bit. So the four components are positive psychology, positive psychiatry, Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, and Chickering's 7 vectors of development. And importantly, we consider neurodiverse conditions to be conditions rather than disorder, and acknowledge challenges instead of deficits. Because when we do that, we are going to be able to pivot the challenges that we are observing to strengths. If we are going to use the word deficits, we are going to be stuck here and just think that autistic individuals only have challenges, and you may not be able to acknowledge their strengths as much. And in addition to these considerations, we also apply the strengths based approach across the entire spectrum of neurodiverse conditions. The first component of positive this model, strength-based model of neurodiversity, is positive psychology, and this is a field that was started by Martin Seligman, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and Chris Peterson, and they basically conceptualize the strengths in these domains: wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. And with this kind of construct, then you will be able to further understand how to categorize or characterize the strengths, and there's a rating scale called values in action strengths inventory that can be used in many kinds of settings, both in the employment setting, clinical setting, and it is one of the most validated scale that's in the field of positive psychology. And when we are also thinking about positive psychology, what it is really encompassing, there are three definitions that have come up top in the last 20 years or so. And basically, if you are to remember three words, it's about strengths, about personal fulfillment, and about growth or development. The second component of the strength-based model of neurodiversity is positive psychiatry. So I will illustrate what positive psychiatry is by comparing with traditional psychiatry. Positive psychiatry is about positive attributes and strengths rather than what's wrong and what are the risk factors. Positive psychiatry is also about protective factors and neuroplasticity. Traditional psychiatry is about treating symptoms by short-term psychotherapy and medications. Positive psychiatry is about increasing well-being and growth using psychoeducational interventions. And this can last for a lifetime, which make it a preventative approach. And this is largely ignored in traditional psychiatry. I'm not saying that traditional psychiatry is worse than positive psychiatry. They actually serve two different purposes. When someone is in crisis, is in deep depression or suicidal, we do need to get the person out from crisis by using medications and short-term psychotherapy. However, when the person is out of the woods, they are much better. They are no longer in crisis. In order to help them, positive psychiatry may as well be a better approach to get the person to be developed, to increase their well-being, and this can prevent relapse. The third component of the strength-based model of neurodiversity is the theory of multiple intelligence. So when we are thinking about intelligence, a lot of the time, maybe you're thinking about IQ, right? So this is the bell-shaped curve for IQ. Someone with an IQ of 85 to 115 will be considered to have average IQ. And someone that has 130 IQ would be pretty smart. Someone with 145 IQ would be considered as someone that may be at the genius level. On the other hand, on the left side, when someone has an IQ of less than 70, the person will be considered to have intellectual disability. So this is a very popular way and most common way of measuring intelligence. But it has a lot of flaws because it only tells us about a few things. IQ only tells us about the visual spatial ability, the verbal ability, and mathematical and logical abilities. It doesn't tell us anything else. So Howard Gardner at Harvard basically broadened our scope of what intelligence means and add to the three domains of intelligence to this list of multiple intelligences. And they include musical rhythmic, bodily kinesthetic, naturalistic. Interpersonal abilities are the ability to relate with other people. Intrapersonal ability is the ability to understand self, and existential ability is the ability to appreciate your own existence, the universe's existence, etc. So everyone may have some level of ability in every single domain of intelligence. So you can have a multiple intelligence profile. So to illustrate what that may look like, we go to someone that we all know, the genius of the genius, Einstein. So Albert Einstein's musical rhythmic ability is almost above average. He played the violin. His visual spatial ability is in the genius level. Verbal linguistic ability, actually not so high. He didn't speak until 4 years old. Logical mathematical, he's very much lonely in his own island of genius. Naturalistic, average, and look at intrapersonal and interpersonal, he actually struggled quite a bit. And bodily kinesthetic, average, he at least ride the bicycle on time. So you can see that the genius of the genius does not appear to be superior in all domains. In fact, he is only superior in a couple of domains and struggle in other domains as well. But it doesn't matter. He changed the world for the good because of what he is very good at. And many people are like him, just like the list of people that I showed you in the beginning of the talk. So basically, every one of us can have a multiple intelligence profile. That's different people will have different profile. And interestingly, neurodivergent individuals tend to have more discrepancy between the different domains of abilities. Neurotypical individuals tend to be fairly uniform. They may be average in most of the domains, but neurodivergent individuals are very different. The last component of the strength-based model of neurodiversity is the Chickering 7 Vectors of Development. This is basically a list of developmental tasks that all adolescents and adults have to achieve in order to become a full adult. And basically, when we are looking at these vectors, developing competence, managing emotions, moving through autonomy toward interdependence, developing mature interpersonal relationships, establishing identity, developing purpose, and developing integrity, we basically ask three questions. One is that how can we help neurodivergent individuals achieve these developmental tasks? The second is, how about the people around them, like the employers and the co-workers? How can they change the environment so that neurodivergent individuals can achieve these developmental tasks more readily? And then the third question is, what about the mental health providers? How can we stop figuring out what are the deficits and help neurodivergent individuals to achieve these developmental tasks by helping them to develop in a systematic fashion. So when we apply the strength-based model of neurodiversity to neurodiverse individuals, we would want to raise their awareness of their personal strengths. We want to increase their trust in personal abilities and help them learn to engage in relationships and increase their self-satisfaction through success. So this way we can move them away from the negativity and immobility such as anxiety, depression, and executive dysfunction. So with this model, we know that we need to implement something. So we basically have the Stanford Neurodiversity Project implemented since 2018. What it is it's a special initiative of the Psychiatry department, and it is consistent with the ideal initiative of our institution, which is about the ideal is basically the cornerstone of our commitment to devote significant time, energy, financial resources to transforming our culture, our scholarship, our education, and our impact on the world. And for the Stanford Neurodiversity Project, our main objectives are to establish a culture that treasures the strengths of neurodiverse individuals. If we do this right, then we can empower neurodiverse individuals to build their identity based on their strengths, and this can last for a lifetime. We want to attract talented individuals to study and work at Stanford and also our partnering organizations, and train talented individuals to work with the neurodiverse population. We want to disseminate this model as widely as we can and maximize the potential of neurodiversity, not only for neurodivergent individuals, but for everyone in the society, because they have so much to bring to the table. On one hand, we are very person-centered. We want to see what the neurodiverse individuals need. On the other hand, we are using an ecosystem-driven approach. Everyone has their family and friends. Neurodiverse individuals oftentimes have mentors and therapists supporting them. In the education setting, there are teachers, coaches, classmates, roommates that can make the immediate environment more neurodiversity friendly. The school officials and the school community can also make the larger culture of the organization to be more neurodiversity friendly. And similarly, in the employment setting, the supervisors, job coaches, and colleagues are in an excellent position to create an environment that's more neurodiversity friendly. And the executives and the work community can also contribute to making the larger culture of the organization to be neurodiversity friendly. So with this, we developed a few initiatives: neurodiversity awareness and education, neurodiversity at work and wellness, and neurodiversity independent living skills initiative. And embedded in each initiative are several programs. We just had our Stanford Neurodiversity Summit not too long ago. We ended that 3-day event on Tuesday. We have 2,100 people participating, both virtually and in person. In person, we have about 600. And feel free to contact us if you're interested in accessing the materials of the summit. And we also have a SMP Reach Summer Camp. It's a 2-week summer camp that I'm not going to elaborate too much. After this, I will focus on the neurodiversity at work, but I will just say a little bit about SMP Reach here. Basically, it is a 2-week summer camp for high schoolers that is about helping them to understand neurodiversity and build a neurodiversity efficacy project. And within the 2-week period, neurodivergent and neurotypical individuals would work together. And at the end of the 2 weeks, they would end up with very elaborate projects that we oftentimes see that it is much long lasting than the 2 weeks. And it's not only the projects that are longer lasting, it's also the friendships. People on the spectrum have a lot of trouble making friends. After the 2 weeks, they are friends, and they are long-lasting friends. So this is something that we also published not too long ago on its efficacy. So we'll talk about neurodiversity at work program a little bit more. We also have a diverse program that we have developed a curriculum that's called Developing Inclusive Vocational uh, 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 employment resources for the success of employment. And basically, this particular program has the curriculum that help job coaches, family members, and employers on how to work better with neurodiverse individuals. And those are videos that are very much digestible, basically short, succinct videos that are high yield. And we have 7 core modules and 5 supplementary modules. But because of time, I'm not going to talk a lot about the details of this program. And we also have the SMP Corporate Members Program for people that want to access more materials from us. We have a Neurodiversity Clinic, and also CBT Apt is a curriculum that's taught by myself and Valerie Gauss, a psychologist. And basically, this is a CME curriculum that's helping not only CBT providers, but also other medical providers on how to work better with autistic individuals. And we also have a neurodiversity resources database that now in testing phase that can be very helpful for the neurodiversity community. So a little bit more about the Neurodiversity at Work program. Basically, in a nutshell, what we are trying to do is to help autistic individuals and their supervisors to collectively work towards making the workplace more neurodiversity friendly. We believe that it is not only about accommodations from the employers, or it's about the neurodivergent individuals learning how to be living and working in the neurotypical world. It's really about a collaborative process that can make the workplace more neurodiversity friendly. And we have been working with many different organizations over time, both small and large organizations. And we also have this first example that we have Rebecca Edwards, who was our first participant of the Neurodiversity at Work program several years ago. She was looking for a job, and she had a lot of challenges in the interview process because of the social interaction difficulties. But with our program, basically, we work with the employers to figure out whether or not there's a good fit. And Rebecca, it turns out to be very good in working in the lab. And eventually, she was hired as a part-time and later on as a full-time employee. So basically got promoted just about a year ago. So choose a very good example for us to demonstrate that with a lot of challenges that's basically imposed by the neurotypically shaped environment, we can actually overcome those challenges if we can learn how to make the workplace more neurodiversity friendly. And later on, we also collaborated with Google. This is a few articles that are talking about that collaboration. And basically, we have in the project a few different uh, entities that make this project possible. There's a neurodiverse candidate registry. We have about 1,900 people on the autism spectrum in the registry now, and they're all looking for a new job. And some of them are job ready, and they can apply for positions already. Some of them are not job ready, and then they would go through pre-employment training or an internship, and then they would come back to us. And on the other hand, there are also organizations that work with us, and they put their jobs in the job bank. And when their organization is already running neurodiversity hiring programs, they can put their jobs in the job bank, and our candidates can apply. And on the other hand, when the organizations uh, do not have the experience working with autistic individuals, we would train them and then make their hiring process more neurodiversity friendly, and also help them with other ways of shaping the environment to make it more neurodiversity friendly, to make the workplace more neurodiversity friendly. And some of the things that we would do in the interview phase is we figure out that people on the autism spectrum are oftentimes written off very much prematurely because the recruiter would screen them out with their first impressions. Autistic individuals tend not to be very good in small talk. They tend not to give the very first best impressions to people. They oftentimes focus on what they need to do for the job that they're applying for. But a lot of the time, they got written off already because the recruiters may not be looking for those qualities that are uh, associated with the job. They figure they're trying to see if this person can talk to me, whether or not this person is interested in the job. And this is not a very good process. And basically, this can rule or screen out individuals on the spectrum. And even in the interview phase, there are a lot of things that can make the interviews very anxiety provoking. For individuals on the spectrum, um, their anxiety is so much more than neurotypical individuals that also would feel anxious in their interviews. When they are anxious in their interview, they collapse sometimes because it's too overwhelming. So basically, what we do is to make sure that their anxiety piece is taken out. A lot of the times, we would encourage employers and the candidate to exchange their questions ahead of time. This way, we will be able to help them reduce their stress because they are able to know what's coming. And also, we would give training to the employers so that there are other skills that they can incorporate in interviewing autistic individuals. So we helped the employer and the candidate to walk through the steps. And basically, on one hand, we support the neurodiverse individual, and on the other hand, we help the employer. And it's not only the hiring phase. We also help them after the individual is hired. So when the neurodivergent candidate is hired, the first 12 weeks after onboarding, we would support the employer, and actually in running our study, half of the candidates would also receive the 12-week support. And basically, each neurodiverse individual would have support in two circles. One circle is the workplace support circle that include the team manager, the human resource manager, the team buddy, and the neurodiversity at work mentor, who are supported by a coach from our team. The neurodiverse individual also gets support from another coach, and together with other individuals in the personal life support circle, like the personal counselor and family members, they sometimes would work together to support the neurodiverse individual. So basically, with all of this support, we basically define all of these support in our study, and the preliminary data is suggesting that the individuals that are receiving support, the autistic individuals that are receiving support right after the onboarding, they get retention about 80%. And for those that do not get their support right after onboarding in these 12 weeks, they receive later on in 6 months, their retention is only 20%. So this is a stark difference. And it is not only about retention, it's also about their anxiety level. We found that the rate of burnout at 1 month is significantly less when they have the ongoing support. And also their level of anxiety at 1 month is also substantially lower. So basically, to sum up, the neurodiverse individuals can offer so much to our society, and they have some specific challenges that can be overcome. Our strength-based model is used to build the programs that we have in the Stanford Neurodiversity Project, and we would love to collaborate with as many people as possible. You can join the special interest group of neurodiversity. You can let us know your interest about neurodiversity, and if there's anyone that you know are looking for a job that are neurodiverse, let us know, or other organizations that want to work with us. Tell us how you want to be involved. By working together, we can make a difference to the neurodiverse community and beyond. And just want to thank all of our team members, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fung, for that really wonderful presentation. We have a few questions from the audience. The first is, what are some resources for friends and family of neurodiverse individuals to further help support that individual?
First of all, you feel free to go to our website, Stanford Neurodiversity. You can send us an email at Stanford Neurodiversity Project at stanford.edu. You can also go to this website to learn about our work. And also, if you want to join this special interest group, you can go to another website that I'll put it in the chat. And basically, we have monthly meetings. Usually is the third Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. We have someone knowledgeable in some areas of neurodiversity. They can show you, they can tell you about some aspects of that may be of interest, like employment or mental health or higher education, etc. And also, our group has been running the Stanford Neurodiversity Summit. Actually, the videos for those presentations in special interest group, they're also on our website, so you can find from there. And also, if you go to our website, you can also find the videos of previous um, summit recordings. Right now, we have 4 years of recordings that are available already, and every year we have at least 36 hours of materials. The first year, actually, we have about 50 hours of materials. So you can look at the topic, and maybe some of those will be suitable for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fung, and we'll include those links in our follow-up to our participants. We have a question from our audience member. A raised hand.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Fung. Thank you so much for this wonderful talk. I actually was one of the virtual attendees of the summit on Sunday. So congratulations for this wonderful initiative. And the question that I have, as you mentioned about your high school camp and how it improved communication between high school students, neurodiverse and neurotypical students at the camp. So I was wondering if you would like to share with the group your thoughts about the double empathy problem and how you think that, what are the interventions in the workplace that can improve communication among employees with different neurotypes?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So for those people that don't know what double empathy problem is basically the concept of thinking about like a lot of the time neurotypical people think that neurodivergent individuals do not understand what they are, what neurotypical people are trying to convey. But the other way is also true. Then it's possible that is really the neurodivergent individuals' thoughts are not understood by neurotypical individuals. So it's actually two different directions that's going on. So so basically, in order to really understand that how the double empathy problem can be considered as a good way of really digesting how people can communicate is that the neurotypical individuals should not assume that whatever that they are talking about is supposed to be the truth. And the environment that neurotypical individuals have shaped, that may not be the best. Just like the curb cut, for example, like 100 years ago, there's no curb cut. Now there's curb cut, and then everyone say it's better. So the environment changes when we understand that there's something better. So when we understand that we can actually do things better so that we can communicate better between neurotypical individuals and neurodivergent individuals by not assuming that they need to be understood. They need actually to understand other people's position as well. So when we have the desire of trying to understand other individuals' perspectives, then we can communicate better. So a lot of the time, the best ideas, the most innovative ideas are the newest ideas that people don't understand. But if you don't shut them down, then maybe you're going to find another like Nobel Prize winning idea.
Thank you, Dr. Fung. a final question. Are there any particular factors in research settings specifically that can create environments friendly for neurodiverse individuals?
Is there another, sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. Are there any particular factors in research settings that can create environments that are friendly for neurodiverse individuals?
Yeah, so in order to make the lab more neurodiversity friendly, I think this is going to be like dependent on many factors. Wet lab is going to be different from like a dry lab and but I mean if you're talking about like a wet lab situation, like there's a lot of noise, right, in the environment, and autistic individuals commonly have sensory hypersensitivity. So having that consideration and figuring out how to make the workplace more comfortable is something that can be very tangible. But there are many different processes that are very common among individuals that have research projects. You all have to have meetings, and you all have to send emails, and many of you have postdocs and have grad students, and there are different processes that actually are completely not neurodiversity friendly. And basically, what I can say is that there's really so much. It can take like many hours to even unfold what they are. But basically, what I can say is that if you want to make your lab more neurodiversity friendly, the first thing is to have the PI to really sit back and really think how you can make a difference so that even the minority is served. When the needs of the minority is served, you may actually figure out that the new methods that you're using are going to be used by others, just like people that are now working from home in before COVID. That's kind of like something that is not welcome by employers, but now everyone understands.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Well, that brings us to the end of our time with Dr. Fung. Thank you again so much, Dr. Fung, for a wonderful presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on our Critical Conversation series today. We will be sending the recording out shortly. Yeah, take care and have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you so much.